Hello YouTube, Reloading Bench back once again, and I apologize for the noise, but that is the laundry room fan light. And this video, as bad lighting as it is related to my SimpliSafe water sensor that went off the other day because it's sitting down there in the corner and we had water on the floor. I'm like, what's going on? And this has happened every once in a while with the washer, only when it was on low setting. So when it was on normal, it never leaked. So we're like, okay, don't do it on low, just normal. But then we had a leak on normal, and a rather big leak. So every time the water, we have an issue, I look in here and I'm like, okay, this is good. And then I started taking things apart to see how bad the water was. And then I jumped on YouTube to see what the fix is. And it's usually this bellow, this giant bellow. So I watched on how to take the machine apart and put the bellow, and replace the bellow. But what I found when I looked a little closer is, oh, we have a little, instead of putting my hand right here near the four drains, 1, 2, 3, 4, I put my hand up and I felt a tear. And I don't know if you can see that tear where my finger is. And then I slid over to the right a little bit more. And we don't have a tear, but we have a giant rip that I could put, 3 or 4 fingers in that probably aren't visible. Well, there you see the hole. So, new bellow, new boot, a lot of work. So I'm going to try a temporary fix, and I'll show you what that is. So I jumped online trying to figure out what could I use, and it came down to, you know what, I'm going to try this clear version of flex tape. It's because I needed something where it says rubberized. I needed something that would be flexible. So, I was looking at different kinds of glues, adhesives, and whatnot. And then I thought, you know what, let me give this a try. It's supposedly thick, even works underwater. So this is what I would call a wet application, meaning, my issue is around water. So I'm going to try and open this. Wow, that didn't want to open very easily. To try and save the directions. Actually, I'm going to print these directions, or save these directions on my iPad, and then I don't have to worry about tearing this up. So I will cut this. Instead of doing 2 strips, I think I'll do 1 long strip, maybe. I'm still debating. And it says for best, press down first. So cut, leave backing on tape, and cut to desired dimension. Use sharp knife or razor blade when cutting. Peel, remove backing, and apply to a clean surface. Press down firmly on clean surface using your fingers. Plastic squeegee, blah, 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 blah. Continue pressing firmly to allow tape to remain on the surface. Flex tape's bond will increase with time and pressure, and in some cases may need up to 24 hours to reach maximum hold. Once fully bonded, flex tape cannot be repositioned. So this will be a permanent fix for my issue. So let me see what happens, and I'll bring it back. I don't know, either maybe after I put it on or after it's fully bonded. We'll see. I should put the flashlight in here to begin with, but there was the big tear right here, and here were 2 small tears. That's not one. I think they were right around this lip up here. There's one. I think there's the other. So the tape was easy to work with, and it's got a very flexible. It's thick and it's flexible, so I'm reasonably confident these are going to be okay. It was this one that's, I think, the big problem, and I used 2 pieces, a long one and then a second one. So we'll see what happens. I'll let it cure for a day, run the wash, and see if we have gooby leaks. Later. Hello folks, Reloading Bench back with you once again, and we're gonna put an end to the, this tape, this flex tape. How did it work out for me? So I'm gonna say mixed reviews. And by that I mean, when I discovered the tears, and you can see the tape just it didn't quite stick. So obviously I have taken the washer apart, and this is the baffle from the washer. This is actually the front side. And, you know, when you look at where the tears were, it looks like, as my son pointed out, where all these ribs are, you know, you can see that, you know, those are the weak points. It seems like every tear was at one of these ribs. Here's another one. So every single, you know, again, here's another one. So the main tears, and this is the bottom, as you can see with the four drains. This was the big issue. So when it leaked real bad and I put my hand in there, I felt this one originally. I'm like, oh wow, I have a tear. And then I reached further back and I'm like, holy shit, a giant tear. So, you know, I had put these pieces in here originally, and then we ran a wash and it leaked, but it leaked a lot less. And then I put this one on the back, and again, you can see it doesn't, you know, parts of it stick, parts of it don't. You know, I could pull it back up. So I'm not going to fault this tape, because when you think about what this is, and the amount of water and whatnot going through here, I think what blew me away was the number of holes that developed over the years that I had no idea. So I'm going to say this is just normal, you know, usage hole. I think something cut this, you know, something sharp that was, you know, in the washer. But I'm just amazed at how many holes there were that caused the whole water issue. And I'll share with you when it gets delivered later. When I looked inside the washer and I saw where the, you know, the water had accumulated and began to rust some of the pan before it went down under the floor and then triggered my my water sensor alarm. There are 3 what I would call shock absorbers in the that are under the actual tub. 2 on the left, 1 on the right, and that's what, you know, when it's doing its agitation and its spin, that's what keeps it, you know, moving, or, you know, whatever the right term is. But in any case, one of the corners where some of the water settled, the back left, you can see rust right around the bottom of the mount for the, you know, again, shock absorber, mini shock absorber. So I'm going to treat that with rust converter so that that stops rusting and hopefully doesn't deteriorate the metal surface any longer, because if I lose that one mini shock absorber, that will impact the functionality of the tub. But in any case, I'm going to say this stuff's kind of cool. It just didn't work for this purpose, and the whole amount of time to take the washer apart and replace this was a little over an hour for me, because I was, you know, stopping, watching a YouTube video how-to, and then continuing on. So, and this part is anywhere from $40 to $200, depending on whether you go OEM with an actual Whirlpool version versus something like Seal-O-Matic or some of the other names per se. But my washer is 15 years old, so people who were replacing this at like 7 and 8, so I feel blessed I got 15 years out of this particular bellow. But it didn't hold up like I thought it would. First couple washes, you know, less water, and then it just kept growing. So I knew that it was time to replace. Hello folks, Reloading Bench back with you yet again, and we are going to call this the last piece of the fixing the washer puzzle. And if you're watching this, that means you're watching part of my leaking washer bellow holes in the bellow thingy thing. So that has all been fixed. Wow, it looks so much bigger on the video. It's all goobery too. Hope it's not leaking. This is rust reformer. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to apply that to the rusted areas underneath the washer where the tub is, where we've had exposed water for a period of time, over, you know, enough time to cause rust. And as I said in a previous video, the reason I'm doing this is to stop the rusting of the steel or metal, I don't know what the sheet metal, that the bottom of the washer is made out of, that one of the three, I call it mini shock absorbers that holds the tub in place, because that's where water has settled and caused rusting. So hopefully the rust reformer will get in there, do its magic, and stop the rust. Actually, I'll probably leave it like that. Stop the rust, so that, where's my thumbnail? Stop the rust so that we get another, I don't know, 10 years out of this thing. Who knows, whatever the next piece to break is. But the total time to fix the bellow, I don't know if I said that in my last video, was about an hour, a little over an hour. And that was, again, taking breaks and watching the video and doing what the video said. So this will probably happen tomorrow. I'll probably take some video of what it looks like before and then after. Unfortunately, because this turns the rust black, somebody will, like, whoever were to look in there, be like, oh, you have mold. So I'd rather have metal with a black finish than metal that has a whole bunch of rust. So more to come. All right, so there's some of what I'm talking about in terms of rust. But here, let me take out my catch the water. Here's what I'm really talking about. Right back, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up. Right back on that last, so here's one of the shock absorbers, and there's that back one way back there, and that's where the rust is at. So I'll do the rust reformer right around these areas where there's rust. Not gonna worry about over there, but that's the primary focus. These areas. That's it for now. And we are back with a little bit of miniature brush painting. This stuff, I was actually really surprised. When I opened the bottle, I was expecting to have to tear off a tab. And it was just like this. So I'm so grateful this did not leak. Because normally when you buy a liquid-based product, in a plastic bottle, Amazon will put a plastic bag or some type of sealant. You know, for paint cans, they put the little metal clamps around it, but this had nothing, as you saw. And this stuff looks like, I don't know if you're picking that up. Let me try and, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm going to spill. Murphy's Law. So it was a really tiny thing. Here's what the stuff looked like. So I put it in here, and then I brought it over to the washing machine, and then I taped off my areas, or an area so that it looks like a straight line, so it doesn't look like black mold is growing. Because this says, shake well, apply rust performer to rusted surfaces directly, blah, blah, blah. Use a non-metallic bowl, using a brush. After 15 minutes, rust reformer will dry to a black surface. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes and it's not black. And I was very, very liberal with putting this on, so maybe it's still too wet. But I'll take you into the washer and show you what it looks like. It doesn't look bad. It looks kind of like the chalky water, hard water residue. So what I painted didn't turn black, and maybe that's because it's sheet metal instead of, you know, a different kind of metal. Not sure. But I'll show you the washer, and then we'll call this a wrap, because the washer, after many cycles now, doesn't leak. So we're happy about that. And I'll button it back up and put it all back together. Hang on a second. So I did this section, and it looks, if I can get the light right, it just looks chalky. It doesn't, you know, it's not black. Maybe there you can see some of the rust. And then in here, you know, where that blue tape is, to the left of the blue tape, I don't see black. I just see like calcium colored rust, like the rest of this, whatever that bottom of the pan is called. So, you know, it doesn't look rusty. And my biggest concern was over there in the corner with that tripod, or excuse me, super rusty
area, and I can see the glow, so the paint is dry. So hopefully it reformed it, and that's that. And then this was cleaned out, and we are good to go. So time to wrap this up.